turns the corner, gets the equalizer.
Big hit, how about that?
How do you like that? Stops the first penalty kick he sees.
It's loose in front of the goal cage, and it's put in! Oh my.
She's going to take another shot, and it's into the back of the net.
Once again, Patriot League champions.
Inside the Hart Center on the campus of Holy Cross, it's time for a big Patriot League volleyball matchup as American University visits the Crusaders of Holy Cross. Hello everyone and welcome inside the Hart Center. John Avino alongside Leverett Ball. And today, Leverett, Holy Cross still trying to fight for that last playoff spot in the Patriot League tournament at 5-8. A tough one, though, as American comes in at 13-0.
Yeah, playing the best team in their conference, obviously American, as you see, in first and undefeated in Patriot League play on a 14-game win streak overall.
And that is going to be a tough one for them. Barry Goldberg is 30th year. He's only lost 14 Patriot League contests total in those 30 seasons. Let's take a look at how they match up stats-wise. And you see American has some advantages on most of the important numbers, including a full block advantage. Defensively, they're going to be tough for Holy Cross up front.
Yeah, although Holy Cross, the one edge they do have is their ability to serve the ball. And Kathleen Philo has a lot to do with that. Very effective getting those aces, hitting the corners on her serves.
Another player for Holy Cross that we'll be keeping an eye on today is Katie Kierans, who's going to be important for them. She leads the team in kills this season.
Yeah, like you said, 216 kills on the season, and what a bright future she has, ahead of her. She's only a sophomore and already putting up monster numbers like that. And last night in the game against Loyola, I had a chance to talk with Steve Vecchione about, how much young talent this Holy Cross roster has.
And for American, a former All-American honorable mention, two-time Patriot League Player of the Year, it's Alexandra Kazama.
Yeah, and she had some impressive things on her resume coming into the season. But, she's really continued the solid play. She has 348 kills on the year, which leads the team. And she's actually a foreign player. She's from Devica, Poland, and played on the Polish junior national team while she was in high school. So a very impressive resume, to say the least.
Starting lineups and our opening server coming up next. A big one for Holy Cross and American on the Patriot League Network on Stadium. Back inside the Hart Center, just about set for our opening serve. John Avino with Leverett Ball on the Patriot League Network on Stadium. American coming in at 13-0, fresh off clinching the regular season title last night against Colgate. They come up here now for this matchup with Holy Cross. The Crusaders trying to stay relevant in the playoff hunt. 5-8 right now. At the outside looking in, really the only team that's outside the playoff hunt that still has a chance of getting back in it. And they are currently a game and a half back of Army, who is currently in a three-way tie for fourth. So there could be some shuffling around, Leverett. This is obviously a big mismatch on paper, but Holy Cross is up for a lot of challenges this season, including already overachieving from what they were projected to do. And who knows, maybe they'll have an upset in them tonight.
Yeah, and like you said, American undefeated in the conference heading into today's matchup. But this would be the perfect time for the Crusaders, to get that upset, obviously fighting for their playoff lives with the season coming to a close.
First serve belongs to American. Tough one off Kazawa's hand, and a return coming the other way. A tip up front, and a first point for Reagan Wright off her kill. It's 1-0, and Holy Cross jumps out to an early lead. They get the serve right back.
Yeah, and Holy Cross had some errors serving the ball last night against Loyola. See what they can do here.
Wright has 63 service errors this year, but also has 48 aces. Didn't get an ace that time. An attack coming back that way, but it's out of play, and an early deuce of a lead.
And I talked with Steve Vecchione about this last night. A lot of players who have a lot of aces will also have a lot of service errors because they take risks, try to hit the corners.
Now you see how tough that is to handle. She's going to pick up the ace right there, the 49th of her freshman campaign. In high school, she set a record at Summer Creek with 13 aces in one match. And now one away from 50 here as a freshman, and that was just out. A service error this time, and the serve given back after a 3-0 lead spotted by Holy Cross. This will be Vela McBride, junior from Reston, Virginia. It's going to be an overpass on the first, and then just thrown right down by two hands by Shannon Webb, the outside hitter from Aurora, Colorado. This American team is stacked, but they have been for a long time. This is a really good program. Barry Goldberg's in his 30th year at the helm here. That's another tough serve to handle. An attack coming, though, for the Crusaders, and it's capitalized on by Katie Kierans, her first kill of the afternoon.
Nicely
Serve
done.
coming for Kierans now as well.
Showing why she was one of our players to watch.
Leads the team in kills this year. That was number 217 on her sophomore year. Popped up in the air, an attack coming. Slide play, and just too much to handle off the hand of Elbeck. Sophomore from Denmark. Second team Patriot League member a year ago as a rookie.
And now a substitution, Sophie Van Severn enters the game for Holy Cross, replacing Kierans.
And Severn, one of 2 liberos that they've sported this year, just a sophomore, came in last year. It was really her job, but Sky Duvall Santos has made it tough to just use one this year. That's an attack that's going to go long, no tip. And American has this thing tied up here in the first set. I was mentioning Barry Goldberg. He's a Pittsburgh '84 grad, 749 overall wins since taking over the helm. That will be a kill up front for Honan again, her second. And just to finish on Goldberg quickly, he 7-time Patriot League Coach of the Year, 749 wins to 265 losses, and then in conference, he's 247 and 14. Just silly
Ridiculous.
numbers.
Yeah. Well, we talked a little bit before the broadcast about how he's probably had some offers to go coach other places with all the success he's had, but he just loves coaching an American and loves everything they've been able to accomplish.
He has cemented himself as one of the best in the nation. That's an attack that goes long. Another error for the Eagles. They haven't lost more than 1 game in conference in quite some time. Last year and the year before, they lost 1 game exactly, and then in 2015, they were 16-0. So they're trying to do that again if they can avoid losing before the Patriot League tournament. Good rally here, an attack coming, and it's blocked. The attack from Webb, and then a combination. They're still playing here, but they already marked the point in favor of Holy Cross. I think they thought maybe that somebody had kick-saved that there. Melissa Beatty-Smoose in her 4th year at the helm for the Crusaders, enjoying the most success that she's had so far in a season, although a couple years ago they did go 6-10, so she would need 1 more win to match that, but has done a really good job, and this is a very young team. It's going to be a free ball just knocked over for Holy Cross to set up. Bump set from Van Severn outside, and Harding's blocked away, but it comes down out of play, and the Crusaders have themselves an early 8-4 lead here in this first set.
Yeah, and John, you talked about the job that Coach Beatty-Smoose has done since she took over here at Holy Cross. You know, she came in knowing that they had to rebuild a little bit, but she's had the right approach, and they have a lot of young talent on their team and a lot of potential.
She spent 3 years in the Ivy League coaching at Cornell, and then she moved out to Worcester. Before that, she was also the most successful coach in the history of the Savannah College of Art and Design. She went 81-43 for 4 years there. Has spent time as an assistant in the ACC, SEC, Missouri Valley Conference, Conference USA, all over the place, and now trying to do it from the ground up, essentially. I mean, they've been a program for a while, but just trying to turn them into a competing program, really for the first time ever. Set up for Harding, who's blocked. That block will be something we're keeping an eye on all afternoon, but a nicely spotted kill this time by Claire Honan, who has 3 early ones. We watched her, and you debated maybe highlighting her beforehand, but she's been another strong point for this team up front.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, she's been a dominant force all season, and you know, she's actually pretty versatile. She's obviously able to slam the ball, but also sometimes goes to the finesse and trying to drop balls in.
And that will happen sometimes. The help from the net there for the ace. Jonna Shamley in her freshman season, that's her 8th of the year, 8th ace, and it forces a timeout by American.
What a start that Holy Cross is off to.
They're up to a 10-5 lead. We'll take our first break here on the Patriot League Network on Stadium. Beatty-Smoose, we just mentioned her before the break in her 4th season at the helm, and right now doing a great job coaching in this first set. Sometimes when you're playing a team that on paper is the superior team, you need to outcoach them, and so far Melissa Beatty-Smoose has pressed the right buttons. Another big swing for Honan's knocked back. Another scramble is saved by Dwyer. And we're still playing on. Another long rally and then a miss. Trying to set up Jenna Westney in the middle there, and she was unable to connect. So the point out of the American timeout goes to Holy Cross.
And American has to be shocked by this start that the Crusaders are off to. Now, that being said, the Crusaders last night won the first few points in the first set against Loyola and ended up being swept. So they need to, keep it going and play consistently.
And obviously they did just call a timeout, but one thing that's striking me early on here, as somebody who calls a good amount of volleyball, is that Barry Goldberg does not look in the least bit worried right now.
No.
With his team down by now 5 after that point. He's just chilling on the bench.
Yeah, and he's confident for good reason.
You see him in the white shirt there in the background of our shot. There he is. He had the timeout called, obviously, but he looks like a man who's seen his team get off to some rough starts, and it continues there with another service error. That's already... Well, that's actually the first service error against American. They've had quite a bit of attack errors, though, 3, hitting negative 125 right now. That one just long.
Ooh.
That's Holy Cross's 3rd service error already, and they still find themselves up.
Yeah, and that time it was Van Severn, and, I think the Crusaders know going up against a team like American, they're going to have to take some risks and try to hit the corners on those serves.
You almost have to try and just pick your spots and outthink the other team, and right now, that's going to be an illegal serve, I believe.
Oh.
I believe Vossner crossed over the line before she served the ball, and now that's got Barry Goldberg up off the bench. Goldberg trying to relay to our stand official that they're not so sure that that's the right call. Remember, in volleyball, and I've talked about this with A.J. Cannell this season here at Holy Cross, you're not allowed to just go across the court if you're the coach. You have to relay through your players for the most part.
Yeah. Volleyball, a sport in which sportsmanship is emphasized, and that actually reminds me of my days playing college rugby. In college rugby, the only player allowed to talk to the ref is the team captain. You have to complain about calls through your captain.
Another great extension for Reagan Wright, and she goes through the block. Holy Cross with a 14-7 lead in this first set. This year in conference, American has lost 2 sets against Loyola 2 matches ago. And prior to that, they hadn't lost a set since October 9th against Lehigh. So not only is this a curious start for them, but it's you just don't lose too many sets. They're normally used to coming back, and right now they're down by 8.
They're on fire. But, I think as an athlete, we kind of talked about this earlier, you take a lot of pride in not backing down from the best opponents.
Pushed outside, a ball handling error called against American. It continues to unravel here in the first set.
Bench is fired up. Look at them.
16-7. They've more than doubled them up. Barry Goldberg has to take another timeout. And this has just been a very surprising start here. I mean, Holy Cross hitting 455, and American just can't find it.
Yeah, but, the Crusaders, they don't want to be pushed around on their home court. Obviously we talked about them being the underdog in this matchup, and, they had a really frustrating night last night against Loyola. They were swept. Obviously they came out today with some attitude, with some fire, and it's really paid off.
Yeah, Loyola is that team that's directly in front of them in the standings as well, so that was a big one last night. And they were coming off a couple straight wins against Lehigh and Bucknell on the road, so feeling like coming home after winning 2 out of 3 on the road, really good chance to get off to a good start. And obviously with 3 straight home matches, I'm sure they're hoping they can go at least 2-1 over the span, but dropping last night maybe gives them a little extra motivation to show up to their gym today and try and defend it against a 13-0 American team.
They know what's on the line.
I mentioned they lost the 2 sets against Loyola, American that is, a couple matches ago. Besides that, they have lost exactly 6 sets in conference this season, so 8 total. 2 against Navy early in the year, 1 against Loyola earlier in the year, so 3 total against Loyola this season, and then 1 against Colgate and 2 against Lehigh. Otherwise, there's been a lot of 3-0 victories for this American team. That's the thing, though. Sometimes they do seem to take a set or 2 even to figure it out, but then they're a solid team. But right now, Holy Cross has spotted themselves a lead that would be tough for them to relinquish. 16-7. That's blocked up front, and the second can't get there. So a point this time for American out of their own timeout. A better start than the last time they called timeout.
Yeah, and you have to wonder what types of adjustments they talked about during that timeout. But as Alexandra Kazama gets ready to serve, they need to get her more involved with what a dangerous player she is.
We briefly touched on her accolades over the last few years. What a dig to keep that alive. And then getting to her feet was Largay, the libero, just to push it over. But the dump on the second works. Kathleen Philo makes the right decision. That's the 36th kill of her season. When you have a setter that can get 30 to 40 to 50 kills throughout the year just by dumping the ball, it's such a valuable asset.
Absolutely.
Now another service coming for Holy Cross. A little bit of help from the net. Still played. It's blocked at the net by Holy Cross. Diving dig to keep it alive. Big swing in the middle for Kieran's. An attack coming the other way, and American's going to beat the block this time of Allie Barry with the attack from Sohorska. An 8-point deficit with Vela McBride serving. And that's going to be a ball handling error on the Crusaders. We saw when the Crusaders were on their run, they got some help from American making some mistakes. And if American's going to get back into this set, they're going to need Holy Cross to help them a little bit. I mean, Crusaders hitting 500 right now in the first set. And that one skimmed the net, but then came out. A service error, the third for American. It's 18-10.
Yeah, and Holy Cross obviously getting off to a hot start, but they can't get tentative now. They need to continue to be aggressive and close this out.
Kieran's will go long. It's a good job by that back line to identify that and duck down. It's still not without reason. Holy Cross needs 7 points for the set. American is down by 7, so shows you the distance right now between the two schools. Eagles trying to get back in it. And Allie Barry's going to misplay that one. An easy ball coming right at her that she wants back. It ends up as an ace for Megan Crush. Van Severn. They set up an attack for Shamley. Now Van Severn goes back with it. Tough second one. Barry trying to avoid her head coach and the scorer's table. Could not do so to make contact. Now a 5-point deficit for American.
Yeah, dangerous play there. Well, there's people in, obviously, the table.
Now you wonder, with 2 timeouts in her back pocket, if we might see one from Melissa Beatty Smoose in another point or two. Should they go the Eagle way? That one won't, though, as Shamley ends the run with a big kill. First kill for Shamley. The freshman has had such a great season, up over 200 kills. And so much of this team is just a freshman and sophomore class.
Young talent, absolutely.
Between Honan, Kieran's, Philo, Van Severn, Deval Santos, Shamley, Reagan Wright. You have so many young players. Backdoor set. Slide play is going to be received, and now an attack coming from the back row for Reagan Wright. Another attack for American. Another one for Wright from the back row. Play on. Pushed outside. Big swing is knocked away, but it's going to be Sohorska coming up with a kill as Holy Cross unable to keep it playable. It seems like a pretty nice gap, 19-14, and inching closer and closer, but this American team is starting to creep back.
Yeah, they've really played well since their last time out.
Serve for Shannon Webb, received by Van Severn. Shamley pushes one that will be returned, and there it is, the swing from Kazawa. First team All-East region each of the last couple of years. Honorable mention All-American as well in 2016, Patriot League first teamer and player of the year each of the last 2 years, tournament MVP each of the last 2 years. The accolades go on and on.
Her resume is just ridiculous.
Talk about her through a whole point, basically, and Rachel Harding will pick up a kill and get the ball right back for the Crusaders. Talking to Rachel's mom a little bit before the broadcast today. Very nice family, very appreciative of all we do here on the Patriot League Network, getting these broadcasts for all of the players around the country. Another ball handling error on American. And Holy Cross is 4 points away from stealing a first set from the Eagles.
What a confidence boost that would be for them to come out and win the first set against the best team in your conference, especially bouncing back from their loss against Loyola last night.
Shamley's serve is handled. Big swing coming. It's popped up in the air, avoids the rafters. It's going to be an attack for right. Dug out. Pushed out wide for Kazama, and she will convert. Just so good if they can get her the ball where she wants it at finishing. We've not seen too much of it so far. That's just her second kill, but we expect her to continue feeding her as the afternoon goes on. It's libero Largay again. Couple awkward bumps and an attack from the back row is going to set up a counterattack from the Eagles, and just another missed opportunity. Another swing that will go wide, that time Vela McBride. 22-16, Crusaders leading.
Yeah, an American, they don't look like themselves right now, but this game so much more important in the standings for Holy Cross than for American. And for American, they're really just looking to get their players reps heading into the postseason.
I mean, they clinched last night, not only the regular season title, obviously, but now you know you're going to be hosting the tournament.
Right.
I think that serve came before we were ready, so it won't be just a giveaway this time, like we saw one earlier where American had a player go over the service line. This time they're just waiting for the official down on the side to give her ready, and she does. So now we'll get a serve from Vossner, sophomore. Van Severn will bump it up. Dwyer on the second, and that attack will go wide from Rachel Harding, but now they will change the call. It looked like the official on the stand was going to say it was tipped, and Beatty Smoose still trying to argue her point, but they're not going to change the call, and Americans within 4. Vossner. Tough serve to handle. Dwyer got it for Kieran's, and then she comes up short. Yeah. And now Holy Cross, smartly with a 3-point lead on the board, will take a timeout. Melissa Beatty Smoose had 2 left, and you always like in volleyball especially to take a timeout when you still have a lead on the board.
Yeah.
And that's what she'll talk about now. But really, you can't emphasize enough how good of a start it was for Holy Cross. But now they're just trying to hang on and not let this really good Eagles team win this one.
Yeah, and you know, while American may have already locked up the #1 seed in the playoffs, I think they take a lot of pride in their undefeated record in conference. And, you know, they still have something to play for in that regard. It's almost like, I know this is a different sport, but the year that the Patriots went 16-0 and they played all of their starters in the last regular season game, even though they already locked up the top seed in the playoffs. I think that's something in any sport. You want to hold on to that undefeated record.
Yeah, especially in the college level. A lot of these players are not going to want to sit. They're going to want to continue to get their reps. They're going to continue to compete. And as we know, the last few years, they've only dropped the 2 conference games since 2015. So they're going to put a rotation out there constantly that they feel is going to help them win, even if they're trying to get some of their younger players some looks.
Yeah.
But right now, they find themselves still down by 3, but they do force a Crusader timeout. See if Melissa Beatty Smoose has to use another. She still has the only timeout remaining now in the first set. 3-point deficit, Vossner on the serve. Tough one for Harding to handle. A couple bump sets. Reagan Wright into her own net, and that's an attack error. That's the 5th attack error for Holy Cross as they began to come back down to earth a little bit after hitting 500 to start. Vossner on a service run. It continues. Dwyer. Harding is blocked, and I think that ball never came over the net. I believe it was a reach. They signaled a reach over, but I believe it was a ball that really just never went over, was not blocked, so it would have been another hit. Now Holy Cross is clinging to this lead, and again, with a lead still on the board, even after 2 straight points and the timeout, Melissa Beatty Smoose is going to break the momentum, or at least try to once again. She calls a timeout, and
this would be heartbreaking for the Crusaders if they can't win this first set.
You talk about a momentum swing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, kind of similar to you know, how things went last night. You know, they obviously got off to a great start in the first set, and actually they had the set point two or three different times, and then obviously lost the first set in heartbreaking fashion and then just really underperformed in the next two. So obviously, Holy Cross trying to break that pattern.
It is worth noting, I want to give a little shout out to Alessandra Kazama, as she has officially moved into 4th all-time at American in kills. With her 3 today, she passes Vendula Kirkova. She's now got 1,569 career kills.
Wow.
That's a lot of kills. Next up for her is Natasha Sylvain, who's 101 away, and that's a lot, but depending on how deep the season goes for American, she might be able to move up as high as 3rd.
When you have to wonder, she played on the Polish junior national team in high school, if maybe she'll try and play on the national team when she finishes up at American.
Kazawa that time had it blocked up in the air and attacked right back. And finally, a break for Holy Cross as an error committed by American ends their run. It's 23-21 Holy Cross, but now the Eagles have the advantage of receiving the serve and getting to set up an attack. Couple of late substitutions here for the Eagles. Now we get the A-OK. Good serve, tough to handle, chases the Eagles to the bench over here. It's going to be a free ball for Holy Cross. But a long attack from Kieran's. The serve was really good from Philo. Created a very awkward serve reception, but American dumped the ball over and Holy Cross unable to capitalize. Now American within 1 again. Reagan Wright has her ball knocked up in the air, but it's called illegal on American, and they can't believe it. And I believe just now, pretty funny to see that happen, honestly, in real time. I think Sohorska just looked at her head coach, Barry Goldberg, and said, "Can you believe it?" And he said, "She's standing right there," as if to say, she didn't miss the call. That one will go long,
Ooh.
just long on the service error. Trying to end it with an ace was Reagan Wright. But Holy Cross still has set point, as they just did on the serve, and with a good attack here, they could win it. And now we're going to get a substitution. Jasmine Ellison will come on. Serving specialist, 10 aces this year. And she's going to come on in a big spot to try and tie this up. This is the serve of the set so far. Philo, clean set outside, blocked away, and it's tied up at 24. A chance for Shamley on the attack there was blocked, and then Barry with a bump in the front row, just trying to do anything she could to keep it playable. Now she'll get subbed out for Renee LeBlanc. But it's 24 all. We're going to need at least 26 points for this set. Jasmine Ellison, who just came on for that serve, still there, and she's going to commit the error. If only it was one serve sooner for the Crusaders, who now go back to set point. American with a chance to return this attack and tie it back up.
Yeah, with the way they're playing right now, I think Holy Cross just try to keep this serve in.
It is in from Kieran's, but an attack coming from the other side, and it's blocked. In play, they say, off of American to end the set.
What an ending.
Holy Cross is going to steal the first set,
My goodness.
26-24.
Yeah.
They got out to a huge lead, and they never looked back.
Yeah, and they didn't go for the ace there. Like I was saying, with the way they've been playing, volleying the ball around, I think they did the right thing, just trying to keep the ball in and then win the point rather than going for the ace and risking an error.
So Holy Cross with a big momentum-boosting first set victory. We'll head for a break. When we come back, they'll try to take the second and go up 2-0. Watching volleyball on the Patriot League Network on Stadium. Back inside the Hart Center after a set, Holy Cross with a 26-24 win over the 13-0 Patriot League regular season champion American Eagles. They have not lost a set. Well, they lost 2 sets on October 27th, but besides those 2, they hadn't lost a set since October 9th. So that's a big deal. Holy Cross needs a win to keep themselves very much in the discussion for the playoff hunt. I mean, they wouldn't be eliminated with a win today, but this would go such a long way, Leverett, and they're off to an incredible start.
They really are. And one player who's especially stood out has been Reagan Wright, already with 4 kills on the day. And, you know, Wright is just such a versatile player. You know, she has good height and can make plays in front of the net, serves the ball well, does so many different things. And, you know, we've talked a lot during this broadcast about all the young talent that Holy Cross has on their roster. Wright actually only a freshman this year. She's from Houston, Texas, played her high school volleyball at Summer Creek. So this Holy Cross team, you know, we talked a little earlier about how a lot of the Patriot League athletes are East Coast kids. You know, this Holy Cross team has Wright from Texas. They have players from California, Wisconsin, and give Coach Beatty Smoot a lot of credit for, you know, really not limiting her recruiting. You know, traveling, doing whatever she has to do to find the best talent.
California, Iowa, Oregon, Illinois, California, Wisconsin, Florida, Michigan, Texas, New York, all over.
Yeah.
Everywhere except for Massachusetts, quite frankly. First serve, nearly an overpass from American. What a save by Holy Cross, but they're unable to bump it back over. So it's going to be a 1-0 start for American.
Yeah, you know, American's going to be playing with some anger, you know, in this second set. I mean, they, you know, with the stats being what they were heading in the matchup, they expected to come in and sweep and dominate Holy Cross on their home court. So they're really going to step up the intensity in the second set.
That's been one thing that's hurt them. That's their 5th service error through the first set plus. Just a couple points into this next set. Serve for Reagan Wright, you were just talking about a moment ago. Played over and just out. We thought it would come down on that line, so Wright will earn another serve. You were talking about Reagan, Summer Creek. She was her team MVP all 4 years there. All district as a freshman and sophomore, district MVP as a junior in addition to that. Led her team to the second round playoff appearance in program history. I mentioned earlier after one of her aces, she had 13 aces in one match one time. Incredible. And now she's here in Massachusetts trying to help this Holy Cross program build a winner. Pushed outside for Shamley, and a clean swing put down by Jonna Shamley. Another kill, the second of the afternoon for Shamley, who continues her torrid freshman season. Another freshman for this team having a great year, 4-year player in high school, 2-year captain. She was also a 2-time MVP, so if you recruit a lot of high school MVPs, chances are you'll put a good product on the floor.
Yeah.
That time it was Lauren McKenzie putting one down.
You know, and coaches, when they're you know, taking over a program, they want players who are, you know, their own recruits. They don't want to coach, you know, kids who were recruited by the previous head coach. And, you know, as you can see, obviously the Crusaders with a lot of young talent on the court.
That's dumped over on the second. Kathleen Philo again, the second time she's done that today. Reagan Wright has 4 kills to lead everybody. And then a few Crusaders tied at 2 kills apiece. They'll earn the serve back, a lead here 4-3. Dwyer going down to get that one was Webb, and then it's pushed out of play. So the Crusaders continue.
Off to another lead.
Last set they got out to a huge start. I mean, they were up by 8 or 9 at one point, and America came all the way back, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get out to another set like that, start like that. They might just have to put together a full set. American battles back this time. But it is really interesting so far how well they have played. They're playing solid fundamental volleyball. They're hitting well. I mean, American's helping them out, definitely some regards, but Holy Cross has looked very good so far today. This will be pushed for Dwyer out to Harding. Counter coming, and it goes off the back of Kazawa. Might have been destined for out of play, but she couldn't get out of the way of it. That's kind of how the first set ended. There was one that was blocked back by Holy Cross that might have been out of play, but it came down and touched Kazama on the way down. And Holy Cross is up 6-4 with Shamley serving again. Big swing, Shamley right there to dig it out. Bump set for Reagan Wright. Blocked up in the air at the net. Dumped on the second. That's just a beautiful play by Vosner, the setter. She is going to play above the net at 6 foot. A taller setter. By comparison, Kathleen Philo is just 5'7". Such a dangerous weapon to have at the net. Wright awkwardly pushes that one up. A bump set from Shamley, and then Wright's attack goes long. So now it's tied back up at 6.
Yeah, and you're talking about, the height in front of the net. American has so much height on their roster. Actually, one player who hasn't played yet today, Miranda Weber, actually listed on the roster at 7 feet tall.
Yeah, she will not play today, I don't think. She is in the midst of a redshirt season. Has not appeared yet this year. And she's from Regina, Saskatchewan, and she's got a very tall family. But I'm sure she's another one who they're going to look for in the future to be just an absolute weapon. 7 feet tall.
And it shows the type of depth that American has on their roster. I mean, some of the players on their bench would be starting at other schools.
I think it says a lot about a program that's able to recruit players with the condition that you might not play a lot your first year or even 2 years. Or it might ask you to do a redshirt season. But in the end, it always ends up be benefiting most of the time the player and the program. To help the player watch for a year, and then the program have these high-class recruits that are just sitting waiting to play. That one will go long, so now it's a 3-point advantage. It was 2 when it was 6-4, and then American tied it at 6. Now 3 straight for the Crusaders. It's 9-6.
Yeah, John, you talked about, obviously, athletes coming into American not knowing if they're going to play right away. That's a big decision for a lot of athletes coming out of high school. Do they want to go to a top school where they won't play right away, or drop down to a lower level where they know that they can start?
They're also not a school, and not that there's a terrible amount of transferring in volleyball, as there was a joust to the net here. Cairns will knock it up. Swing from Reagan Wright will go wide, but they have a transfer from UCF, Jenna Westney, who played 2 years at UCF, and then she transfers here, and that's odd in the sense that for a program that does have so many recruits come in and then not play right away, you normally would not see them try to go outside the system to recruit.
Surprising.
That one will go long, and the errors continue to help out Holy Cross. That's a service error, the 6th for American.
You'll see that, though, at the D1 level, athletes will transfer in the middle of their careers because, the system they're playing in at their current school isn't a good fit, or they're not getting enough playing time.
Coaching changes. Sometimes if a coach that recruited you is no longer there, you no longer want to be a part of that system. Nearly an ace there. It'll be pushed over for a free ball for the Crusaders. Big swing from Kieran's. It's blocked and now down playable for American. Van Severn with a bump set. Just a little bit too far out in front of Reagan Wright, and the joust never happens, and American ends up winning the point.
It's funny, John. Some athletes will even transfer from D1 down to D3 because they don't have to sit out a year transferring divisions. In my case, I was barely good enough to be a Division III athlete, so there was no level below that for me to transfer to, unless I wanted to re-enroll.
Team, the club team is always an option.
Re-enroll in high school, maybe? I don't know.
Get that extra year of high school eligibility. Don't see that too often. That one pushed for nobody. Another mishap for this American team. Barry Goldberg continues to stay pretty calm looking on the bench, but he can't feel too great right now about what's happened through this first 2 sets. Another shot of him there, still with that same expression on his face.
Yeah, I really expected American to come out on fire in this second set, with the frustration they had with the way the first set went. But, and their effort has been there. I think Holy Cross is just playing at a level that we haven't seen a whole lot this year, just on their A game.
Illegal ball handling error there against Holy Cross, so American back within 1. This time we'll see how long Barry Goldberg goes without calling timeouts. Last time he kind of had to. It ran away. Holy Cross ran away with the set at one point. Another good play to keep this one alive at the net, and then a great adjustment to make that play happen by McKenzie. But Holy Cross there for a return, and then they get the point off a block out of bounds.
Holy Cross is just on fire. And, you know, I think if Holy Cross can get a win today, they'll take a lot away from that heading into the offseason, regardless of whether or not they make the playoffs. Now, obviously, they'd like to do both. But, you know, with the young talent that they have, you know, a win today could be a big confidence booster going into next season.
This is honestly why it's so close right now. Holy Cross continues to just do this with the errors, but they have really played a match right now where if you take the errors out of it, they're playing straight up just better than American. Hitting 114, American's hitting 026. They've made one more attack error than American, but they've also had five more total attacks. Rather, that one will be played off of American, another kill, another point.
You know what else actually? So obviously the errors serving the ball were a big issue in last night's game against Loyola, which I was calling with Steve Vecchione. But going into last night's matchup against Loyola, serving was actually one of their strengths. So, you know, a little surprising to see that be an issue these past couple days. And who would have thought that they would be outplaying American but also making service errors today?
This is an American team that does commit quite a few service errors, but they're usually also a team that does not allow a terrible amount of aces and plays against serves well. They've allowed a couple aces today, but they've committed 7 service errors. Holy Cross committed 9 by contrast, but that's what I'm saying. If you take those out of it, they've won a set, and they're up in this one. They would be, quite frankly, dominating the Eagles right now. That one's going to find the back row for Claire Honan. They just continue to get points, and at a certain point, they just build up, and then you get to the latter stages of the set with a lead.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's happened here. You're in the middle of the set, and you keep waiting for American to turn it on, but Holy Cross up 14-12. Shamley serving. Maybe they just don't have it today. It happens. There's one, though, that they do have. Kazawa finds it. That's her 5th kill. She leads everyone. She does have 3 errors, though, as well on 13 total attacks.
Kazawa going for the corner there. I've been a little surprised she hasn't been more of a presence in front of the net. You know, she's made some nice finesse plays, but, you know, with her height and leaping ability, I would expect her to be slamming the ball a little bit more.
She's been the most targeted attacker. She gets another opportunity there and converts nearly a nice dig to keep it alive. But that's her 14th total attack. You figure they might try to go for her a little more often. They've given 8 total to both Horska, and McBride. Harding is going to go right through the block to break the 14 even tie. 15-14, Holy Cross will head into the media timeout with a 1-point advantage, trying to take a 2-0 set lead. We'll be right back on the Patriot League Network on Stadium. Holy Cross with a 15-14 lead in the second set, a 1-0 set lead. Overall, that should tell you something. The buzzer just rang for the timeout, and American still deep in conversation. They have really been trying to figure it out from the very beginning here today. 13-0 in conference, and Holy Cross has a lead. Not only did they steal the first set, they had a 8-point lead at one point. And now here in the second set, they've had as much as a 3 or 4 point lead. It's 1 right now, but the free timeout via the media timeout, both teams will talk about it, see what happens, and Holy Cross will get the first point right out of that timeout. Katie Kieran's right in the middle of all the action.
Crusaders might even be shocking themselves with the way they're playing today.
It's got to be fun. They're having fun on the bench. The players are all fired up, one after the other, and that might be enough to carry the momentum. Have to wait and see. They set up a big swing outside. It's an overpass off of that swing. Improvisation in the front row makes it work, and that time, no luck for Dwyer to keep it alive.
Yeah, and you know, if Holy Cross can win this second set, I mean, what a hole they put American in. Even if American, you know, picks up the pace a little bit, I mean, to have to win 3 straight.
I've been here a few times for Holy Cross Volleyball this year, and they've surprised me a few times. That one will go out of play. And the first time they surprised me was the conference opener against Colgate. They hadn't beaten Colgate in a few years. They hadn't even won a set, more than one set in a few years. Then they won 3-1, and they kind of made a statement in the opener. They've won games since then, and now they continue to teeter and totter in the second set, but they're at 17 points on the board. And at what point can you just convince yourself, we're only 8 points away, we just have to continue to do this, and then we'll take a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, and I think if they can just cut back on the errors, we've talked about how they've made some errors to this point.
There's a serve. Attack coming. It's blocked up in the air. American will have another chance. Swing outside, and it goes down off the block. The kill for Elbeck. Second teamer a year ago, had 229 kills. This year, she's got over 250. Good for second on the team behind Kazawa.
Yeah, I think the Crusaders actually may need to switch up the strategy that they probably came into the game with. Coming into the game, they knew they were going against a good team, and they were, going to go for those risks on the serves, try to get aces, but they've just been outplaying American, so all they need to do now is just keep the serves in bounds.
Reagan Wright goes through the block and puts it back down for Holy Cross.
Speaking of outplaying them, look at that effort there by Reagan Wright. She's been all over the place today.
The Eagles continue to get back to tied score, but then they've never been able to get over that hump in this second set. Holy Cross continuing to lead. Worth noting, when they did lose 2 sets to Loyola a couple matches ago, American was up 1-0 in sets. They lost the second, then they won the third, lost the fourth, won the fifth. So they did not face a deficit in that one at all. And right now they're down 1-0. They could be down 2-0 if Holy Cross can find a way to continue moving this in the right direction. That one's blocked. Pancake save. It will be pushed over. Attack coming for the Crusaders. Kieran's with the swing. Another ball stayed playable, but a ball handling error against American.
Oof.
What a pancake save during that to keep it alive, but when it's going your way, it's going your way, and Barry Goldberg will take his first time out, down 2. It's 19-17. And Leverett, I'll say it again, you just keep waiting and waiting and waiting and saying this Eagles team's 13-0.
Yeah.
When are they going to start showing us? But Holy Cross is up for it today.
My, oh my.
It's been unbelievable what they've been able to do. They're playing right with them at the net.
Just outperforming them. And, how scary is it going to be to see some of this young talent on the Holy Cross roster in a couple years?
American hits 260 as a team on the year. They're hitting 098 right now. Holy Cross hits 126 as a team. They're hitting 192. So things obviously going right. You're hitting above your average. The other team's hitting well below their season average. For American, they average about 12.8 kills per set. They have just 16 kills total. And we're almost through 2 full sets. So they have to figure out what's going on quickly. Holy Cross, on the other hand, would love to make this a 2-0 lead. And then we talk about the unthinkable. Could they possibly sweep American? But
my, oh my.
Let's not talk about that just yet. They have some work to do in this second set still. Remember, American was down 18-9, 19-9, 19-10 in that first set and came all the way back and actually forced extra points. They've been closer this entire set, so maybe they have a late run in them. Reagan Wright on the serve. Gets the help from the net. It is played. Van Severn bumps that one up in the air. It takes a long route through the rafters, and Shamley almost ran it down. And her head coach, Beatty Smoose, is laughing as she went right by her.
Over towards the folded bleachers.
If she had made it over there and saved that, that would have been unbelievable.
Almost looked like an outfielder running towards the wall to try and catch a fly ball.
Trying to size up how much room you have left at the same time you're trying to keep your eye on it. That serve will be fielded by Wright. Attack coming. Kieran's was up there early, but she made it work. Kazawa couldn't play it. And it's knocked out. Holy Cross at the 20-point mark with 18 on the board for American. Remember, they have a longer break between the second and third set, 5 minutes, so plenty of time for Holy Cross to look themselves in the eyes and say, we're actually up if they can close this out. And there's an ace.
Oh,
How about it, Katie
my
Kierans?
what a job by Kierans. And, you know, America just helping the Crusaders out there. Kierans was not going for the corner there, just hit it into the middle. But mishandled there by Kristen Largay.
The third service ace of the day for the Crusaders. What an opportune time. They go back up by 3. Barry Goldberg has one more timeout. We'll see when he wants to use it.
You can see Coach Goldberg's body language. Not a happy guy right now.
Another attack from American will be played by Holy Cross. Honan centers in and spots it.
Oh, my goodness. Catching the corner, unbelievable.
A great spot by Claire Honan. A 4-point lead for the Crusaders. They force Barry Goldberg's final timeout of the set with a 22-18 lead on the board.
Oof.
What a set it has been. Holy Cross, after losing last night in straight sets to Loyola, who's on the edge of the playoffs right now. A game that they wish and want back, obviously, being a game and a half back of that final spot. They might have a chance to salvage that here. A 13-0 American team, fresh off clinching the regular season title last night, comes here from Colgate. And right now, they're being shocked, down a set to 0 with a 4-point differential here in the second set as well.
Let's take a line from the movie Dodgeball. I feel shocked.
It's quite shocking. Shocked
My
is the
best,
right word. I think
Pepper Brooks impersonation.
everybody's been shocked. It's a bold strategy.
Yeah,
See if getting down 2-0 is if it pays off for them.
Reminds me, I actually wore an Average Joe shirt for Halloween. Not that anyone listening cares, but you're welcome, everyone.
Which dodgeball player were you from the team?
I wasn't that specific. It was homemade, so yeah.
Fair enough. As long as you went for it.
Exactly.
Holy Cross is trying to close this second set out and give themselves a 2-0 lead. Katie Kierans, another serve coming. Tipped over the front line and barely getting it down in front of Kierans was Lauren McKenzie, the 6'4" senior from Baldwin, New York. There she is. She's been a 4-year member of this team, contributor. Van Severn will pop that one up. Attack for Honan's blocked. Van Severn comes diving in to keep it alive. Dwyer dumped it. And then another kill, second in a row for McKenzie.
American not giving up, but let's not forget in the first set, I mean, American marched back and Holy Cross was able to hang in there.
And now Melissa Beatty-Smoose will take the first of her 2 timeouts with a 22-20 lead. So you have relinquished a couple points in a row, and that's always such a tough idea for a coach is we still have the 2-point lead. We did give up the 2, and now if I call this timeout, not only am I going to talk to my team, but they get to talk to their team again and draw up how they want to keep going, and they get to draw up a serve here. It's a 2-point deficit for American. Holy Cross trying to really sneak by with a couple of set wins. The first one they were up quite a bit, ended up winning 26-24. Now it's 22-20. Melissa Beatty-Smoose using her first time out. Holy Cross playing their second of 3 home matches in a row. And
This is really
second
crunch
of
time,
4
though.
in a row to finish the season, rather.
Yeah, but think about what a difference it makes psychologically going into the third set, 2-0 versus 1-1.
Especially with how close they've been.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big thing in the first set is if you were up that much and you let American somehow come back and win it, that you could be looking at a completely different second set.
Oh, yeah.
But Holy Cross winning that first one at the very end, hanging on, maybe even could help them because it was closer than if they had just walked away with it. But now here in the second set, still have the advantage receiving the serve, but 2 straight points for American, and now another serve for Webb. Philo pushes it out wide. Shamley through the block, converts it, 23-20. Barry Goldberg cannot call another timeout, and now Holy Cross will bring on Shannon Dwyer to serve. Dwyer's serve is received, a near overpass. It is played, and an error called against American. Set point for Holy Cross. They try to take a 2-0 lead over this undefeated Eagles team.
Yeah, with some breathing room here with the 4-point lead.
Dwyer can be aggressive if she wants on the serve. It was a good one. It's played, and then great spotting by Kazama, who reminds us why she's one of the best in the country.
Yeah. And I may be starting to sound like a broken record here, but if they get another chance to serve, just keep the ball in. You have that 3-point lead.
It's libero here, Largay. She just bloops it over, but Holy Cross gets an attack set up. Harding, it's knocked up in the air. It will be played by American. Kazawa through the block, and if you can set it up, she'll convert it. Kazawa, 2 straight kills. Holy Cross back with just a 2-point lead now, and even with set points still, Melissa Beatty-Smoose is not going to take any chances, wants to draw up how they're going to receive this serve.
Nothing the Crusaders could do on that last point. I mean, they were actually in position to make the block, but you're going up against the 2-time Patriot League Player of the Year.
Kazawa has come through a couple of plays in a row there. Senior from Dubika, Poland. She has been quite the player since arriving. She's been a player since her freshman year, had 183 kills even that year, and 498 kills in her sophomore season. How about 537 a year ago? Both of those last 2 years for her are in the top 10 in kills for a single season in American history. She's got 2 of the top 10 highest kill seasons in school history.
What's so remarkable also, with college sports, players typically staying in the same place for 4 years, not as much turnover as there is in pro sports, although there is some transferring. It's easier to scout players because you've gone up against them so many times. And what's so remarkable about Kazawa is she's continued to play at such a high level for 3 straight years, and it's no longer a secret that she's an unbelievable talent.
Yeah, it's not often that the reigning Patriot League Player of the Year will be named preseason Player of the Year and then walk away with it again. But she just had an even better year last year. Averaged 4.33 kills per set as a sophomore, 4.7 last year. Holy Cross trying to put this set to bed, and it's just long from Harding. 3 straight points now for American. And now they're trying to tie this up at 24. Neither coach with a timeout remaining. Largay, good serve. Van Severn will get down to get it. This is going to be bumped over, though. American with a chance to set up an attack. Kazawa blocked up in the air. Van Severn reaches up with a fist. Back row attack for Reagan Wright. She puts it down. The improvisation, it worked for a moment, but American not able to recover. Another 2-point victory.
Oh, my goodness.
Holy Cross.
Unbelievable.
26-24 in the first, 25-23 in the second. They break for 5 minutes. They're fired up here in Worcester. We are too. We'll take a break and be back in 5 with more Patriot League volleyball. Barry Goldberg had 5 minutes to talk to his team there, try and figure out how they can get back in this. And we were talking about it a moment ago. Obviously, if you're American, you can convince yourself it's a new match. We'll just win in straight sets now. But if you're Holy Cross, boy, do you have a lot of momentum. They came firing out of the locker room.
Yeah.
You noted some trash talk maybe, and obviously they're not going to do too much of that just yet, but if they're feeling this good about themselves right now, we'll see what they have in store for this third set.
Yeah, and look at you can see the difference in the energy levels, on the 2 benches.
It's so prevalent right now. John Avino alongside Leverett Ball on Patriot League Network on Stadium. Happy to have you with us this Saturday afternoon, just past the 5 o'clock hour here on the East Coast. American will get our third set underway with a serve, and it's going to be not returned by Holy Cross, so 1-0 lead for American. Megan Crush is back on to serve. Sophomore, libero in high school, but obviously right now just defensive specialist, and that's a service error that has plagued this team all day. That's not something they normally do a lot. That's their 9th service error of the match. Reagan Wright, the tough-to-handle serve. Joust at the net after the overpass. Not much of a joust at all, though. Kieran's gets up and puts it down.
What a difference a night makes. You know, Wright last night had a few unforced errors, but tonight has just been spot on.
Leading the Crusaders with 7 kills.
Oh.
How about a clean ace?
Oh!
Splitting the uprights. Megan
Oh
Wright.
my goodness.
Reagan Wright, excuse me. She puts one down between a couple of American backliners. Her 50th ace of her freshman season. And that time she chases the reception to the ground. It's Kazama in the back row going up to get that. Barry with an attack. Pushed out wide. This is a big service right now for Holy Cross. Get some points on Kazama in the back row for American. A long rally here. Tipped over and then tipped right back. Another attack for the Eagles. And finally they convert. So Horska through the block.
But as they did in the previous 2 sets, Holy Cross getting off to a decent start.
Now you give the service back to the Eagles. And that will be a point for American. So just some notes that have just been passed along. Chris Boscherini, one of our big producers here, obviously. I don't know who he got these notes from, but if you're listening right now, I'll give you some credit. Coming into today, Holy Cross is 0-36 all-time against American.
Oh, my goodness.
Coming into today, they've won 7 sets total, so now 9.
Oh.
The last time they won a set was 2012.
A set?
A set, and they've won 2 today.
Goodness. Oh, my goodness.
So multiple records against American for Holy Cross today, and now their lead will be relinquished for a moment back to a tie score. But this is how they've played these first sets. They've gone back and forth. In the middle of the sets, they've found a bit of a run, the first set more so than the second, but this is Holy Cross playing even volleyball with a 13-0 American team. And that will just be a clean block right at the net, solo style.
John, high character move there, giving Chris credit for the info, not trying to claim it as your own. You know, I can't say I would have done the same. And to any former producers or directors watching who I've worked with, I'm sorry for all the info I've taken and made myself look smart with.
Well, Chris even sent me a screenshot from somebody else. So,
although he didn't tell you who he got it from.
No, there's a mystery person out there who gave us this.
I see what Chris is doing there.
American will take a 2-point lead here, 6-4, after 3 straight points. Kristen Largay, the Arizona native and libero. Ball handling error against Holy Cross.
So American, is this their first lead of the day?
They've led early in sets, but I think this is probably their largest lead
Yes.
this deep into a set. 7-4. Largay with another one. This will be played in the back row by Wright. Bump set on the second. Shamley from the back will commit the attack error. And Holy Cross right now is not doing what they want to do to close this thing out.
And that's out of character for Shamley. She's so effective in front of the net. You very rarely see her make errors, you know, trying to just tip the ball over the net.
One thing I've noticed in calling volleyball for a few years now, Leverett, is as a freshman, she's going to get better at coming from the back row, and that was there, a back row attack. And sometimes you're short on those, and that's something as her career goes on. We'll look for her to do an absolute missile by her there, right there, that's dug out. We bumped over, attack for Holy Cross, hone in. Just wide, and it's a 5-point lead for American. Their largest of the day, and it forces a Melissa Beatty Smoose timeout. So we'll take an early media timeout here in our third set. American out to a big 9-4 lead as they try to find a way back in. Oh, you're looking at a redshirt freshman right now, Miranda Weber. It's not often we'll come back out of a timeout with somebody who's not playing, but 7 feet tall. She's quite the imposing presence. She's going to be a force for this team for years to come. That woman right there, Melissa Beatty Smoose, is probably going to have to game plan against her for the next 4 years. I'm just happy she's not out there tonight. That will be dug out. Van Severn bump set for Shamley. It gets tipped up, playable tight at the net, and then a big swing from who else? Kazama. It's 10-4 American here in the third set. Here's that anger you were talking about.
Yeah, and that's the second time Kazama has just, made a slam that just you can't defend, no matter how well you position yourself.
That's her 9th kill. She leads everybody. Dumped on the second there as Philo is trying to find a quick point. Kazama gets an attack off. Tipped up in the air. Holy Cross will play it. Shamley's blocked away, and then the second not able to. An American starting to run away here in the third set. It's 11-4. It's going to be tough enough for Holy Cross to make up multiple point differences against this kind of team, let alone when it gets to be a 7-point deficit. American would love to make a statement here in the third. And that one will go long. So the poor play for Holy Cross continues here in the third. And sometimes that long break can hurt you. Obviously, they shortened it from 10 to 5 minutes this year, but even at 5 minutes, you go to the locker room, you get an extra couple minutes.
It affects momentum, allows the team struggling to regroup. Absolutely.
Reagan Wright with a swing from the back row. Some scrambling there. That will be made, or it will work on a bump, but it gives an attack opportunity to Holy Cross. Joust at the net. Holy Cross keeps it alive now. Bump over the head. Another joust. Another one kept up at the net by Honan. Somehow we're still playing. Philo gets it back up. Van Severn bumps it. The ball comes down. It's again returned with an overpass. At the net, two-hand. It's put down by Westney. Oh, boy.
What an unbelievable effort by both teams, though. So many different players getting their hands on the ball that time.
13-4 American leading. It was 4-3 Holy Cross, so 10 straight points for the Eagles. The service for Largay has been going on for a while. That just says something. That won't be blocked down, out of play. So finally the run will end. Holy Cross will get the point there. It says something about this American team that they were able to turn it on like that for 10 points in a row.
Yeah.
And just when they're playing at their best, that's just what's going to happen. A team's not going to gift you points like they have been doing today for Holy Cross. Dwyer on the serve. Kazama with a swing. It's going to be a back row attack for Wright. Comes in low over the net. Another back row attack, this time from the opposite side from Webb. Big swing through the block. Claire Honan off the tip up front. Nobody able to recover in the back. Claire Honan's got 5 kills today.
Crusaders starting to gain some ground now.
2 straight points for them, still in a 7-point deficit. Largay with the first. This one cleanly set. Dwyer now at the net for Honan again. It's off the tip, or at least it looked like it was, and they say no tip, out of play. Point to American. 8-point advantage. Interestingly enough, Barry Goldberg up off the bench doing some coaching right now with an 8-point advantage, as he's been very dormant on the bench through the first 2 sets. That was an awkward adjustment by Harding, but she made it work to the back row. Kazama will get blocked down in play. Dwyer with an opportunity to set up one for Harding again, and nobody's going to get there off a back row play that Harding got it. Holy Cross still trailing by 7 with 7 points on the board, but we've seen them go on runs today, and we'll see if they have another one in them.
And now Kristen Largay will check back into the game. One of the more dangerous players on the American roster when it comes to her ability to serve the ball.
Now, Largay was, I haven't even mentioned, she was the Patriot League Libero of the Year a year ago. They have so many players.
Think about all the awards.
Yeah, that's just it. They've had so many players be named to the all-tournament team, the first team, the second team. Crowd trying to get back into it here. A 14-7 lead for American in the third set. Backdoor slide play. And it's out of bounds. Waiting for the signal there for a few, and Holy Cross continues to creep closer. Again, it's still that tough deficit to make up, but every point that they get closer, you think it might be possible. Kazama is going to get a clean setup. It's popped up in the air, and then Van Severn comes diving in with a bump over. That one's blocked at the net off the attack from Elbeck. Van Severn will set one up outside. Harding is blocked. From the back row, Shamley bangs it off the net. Playable for American. Kazama will go long. Attack error. American had really found it there for a moment. It was 4-3 Holy Cross, then 13-4 American. And now a 5-1 run for Holy Cross to respond to the 10-0 run. That's a near overpass, and Honen's presence right there was enough to force Etheridge to the ground and not make the play. Crusaders within 4, and Barry Goldberg is going to talk about it.
What a job the Crusaders have done in front of the net, though. It's unbelievable. You know, American has such a height advantage over them, but somehow able to make those plays.
It has been an odd day for Holy Cross as they continue to make it work. 14-10 deficit here in this third set, but they creep closer and closer still. And really, if they do end up losing this set by a couple points, they're going to point to that 10-0 run that American went on. And really, it's going to be a terrible thing to look back at. But if they're able to get back in this, it really will show their ability as a team to overcome a run like that.
Yeah.
They've already overcome a straight set loss last night at the hands of Loyola, a borderline playoff team that came here at 6-6 in conference. They've overcome that to win the first 2 sets here today against a 13-0, can't say it enough, 13-0 in Patriot League play American team.
Yeah, not to break up the positive vibes, but the loss of Loyola, and it was not only, you know, hurtful as far as the game in the standings, but also the fact that Loyola is one of the teams they're competing with for, you know, that final, fourth playoff spot. So, you know, that could hurt them in a hypothetical tiebreaker situation.
The good news, though, is that they're only 1 game back of that 4th spot, and there's 3 teams tied right there with it. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just they need some help. But this would do wonders for Holy Cross if they knocked off American. Shamley down by 4, still on a service, though. And a clean setup and a clean kill for Westney. Right in the middle, they set up their junior middle blocker, the transfer from UCF. That's where she played each of the last 2 years, had over 100 kills and blocks each of her 2 years there. Now a service for Kazama, skimming the net. It's played by Wright. Dwyer for Harding. Kazama was the one to return it. Popped up in the air. It's played now by American outside. Kazama is just going to dump it over. Dwyer, another setup for Harding. She's blocked. And Van Severn just too late to dig it out. So 2 straight points out of the timeout for American to halt the Holy Cross Stampede and now get back out in front by 6. Reagan Wright bump set for Dwyer. Harding. This time she converts. Nothing that Largay could do.
That was just an absolute bullet.
Sometimes players try to put another player through the ground with the ball, and that was one of those cases right there. Van Severn to serve. Hits her opposite libero. Popped up in the air, an attack coming for the Crusaders. Big swing in the middle. Put down by Kierans. Right past the diving try of Largay. Katie Kierans with her 7th kill. She leads Holy Cross in kills, but they have 5 players that have at least 5 right now. So really spreading it out. Maybe that's the strategy to beat this American team. Don't go for any one attacker. And their American will again halt a 2-point swing. And now they have 17 on the board. So we're starting to get to those latter stages of this third set. Holy Cross is trying to creep back into it here at the end. Jasmine Ellison will come on again as a serving substitution here.
Almost like the 3-point specialist in basketball.
Dwyer for Shamley from the back. And nobody touched it up front, so 2 straight now for American. Still a 6-point deficit. Alyssa Beatty-Smoose will take her final time out of the set. Down by 6. She wants to talk things over. Kazama leads the way with 9 kills. She's the high player, and then Kieran's with 7 leads the way for Holy Cross. But I mentioned they had 5 players, at least 5. Shamley and Honan each have 5. Wright and Harding have 6, and then you got the 7 from Kieran's with a couple more thrown in, 2 from Philo, 1 from Barry. And then Kazawa with 9. Nobody else has more than 5. That's McKenzie, 4 for Sohorska, and 3 apiece for both Elbeck and Westney.
Yeah, Jasmine Ellison getting the job done for American, coming into the game just to serve, but a very well-placed ball there. And Ellison actually, from Ashburn, Virginia, was an all-state, first-team all-state honoree in Virginia for Briarwoods High School. And she's carved out a niche for herself as a specialist at the collegiate level. I'm assuming, obviously, she's able to do a lot of different things at the high school level, as talented as she is.
As a junior in high school, she was part of a team that went 25-3 en route to a state championship. You mentioned the all-state accolades, all-conference, all-region. First 2 years here have been a little underwhelming, but now is in the position to be a serving specialist and has done a good job today, and especially on this service right here. That one will skim the net. And Kieran's off the set from Dwyer will convert out of the timeout for Holy Cross. So Melissa Beatty-Smoose can't break momentum again and stop things, but if Holy Cross is going to get back in this set anyway, then you figure at some point Barry Goldberg would call his second timeout. So there is one more timeout hanging out there in the balance somewhere. And if Holy Cross can cut off a couple more points, we might see it from Goldberg.
And Allie Berry just checked back into the game for the Crusaders. We talk about, all the height that American has. Berry, one of the few players on the Crusader roster who can match it up. Berry actually 6'3".
Barry has been a role player for 4 years. There's an ace for Kathleen Philo. At a big spot, pulls it within 4. That's Philo's first ace of the day. And a great adjustment midair by McKenzie to put it down where nobody was standing. And American continues to hold a gap of 5 points here.
We talked about Barry and one of just 2 seniors on this roster. They have such a young team, but how nice would it be for her to end her career with a Patriot League playoff berth?
Shamley right there after the attack was blocked from right. This time she tries to roll it over and was short, and it's 20-14. American trying to close in on a set win.
American beating Holy Cross into the 20s for the first time today.
You mentioned Allie Barry last year had 94 kills. That's a career high for her. Has been a role player for 4 years, seen time sparingly. You also mentioned she's one of just 2 seniors. As Kieran's will be blocked into the antenna, the point will be Holy Cross. She's actually only one of 2 upperclassmen. After this year, they will not have a senior, barring a transfer, on their roster. There's no juniors on this team. Kristen Somerville and Allie Barry will both graduate. And after that, you're looking at a team full of freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. Big swing for Kieran's, 2 straight points. And just when American got to 20 and thought maybe they're going to
showing some life,
walk away with this set, exactly. Holy Cross showing some life.
They want that sweep.
They continue to creep back in, though, and then as soon as they get within 4, that's the magic number this set. American has been able to stop it, so we'll see if they can make it a 3-point deficit. American needs just 5 more points to win the set and force a 4th. Right. Again on the serve, it's tough to handle. And that was tough to handle the other way on the attack from Sohorska.
Another bullet of a spike there. But, the Crusaders really, they need to approach things like it's 2-2 right now, because with American being such a dangerous team, a team that can win 3 sets in a row so easily, they don't want to let them back into this thing.
Bumped up by Wright, pushed out by Philo, and going through the block was Shamley. So again, it's Holy Cross has not gone away in this set, but Americans' lead that they build, much like the Crusader lead in the first set, has carried them to this point, and they still lead by 4.
What a streaky set it's been.
Kieran's a good serve. It will be played. Kazama with an attack. Kieran's had a bump that very nearly got down. It's going to result in a point. What a return on the bump by Katie Kieran's.
And the bench going nuts again.
They are quite the celebratory bench between Rachel Harding and Renee LeBlanc just there. They were going nuts. LeBlanc has done push-ups a couple times today after big points. Crusaders within 3 in this set. Awkward looking first set. That's going to be a free ball to set up an attack. Honan got it down, but American will play it out. Kazama with another chance. She goes into the antenna. Holy Cross is within 2. Barry Goldberg is going to take his final timeout.
Oh, my goodness.
The Crusaders are trying to come back and win this thing in straight sets. They trail by 2, but boy, oh boy, have they turned it on the last few points. They right now are looking at an opportunity to pull within 1 coming out of this timeout, and that man right there trying to make sure it doesn't happen. Alyssa Beatty-Smoose has done an excellent job coaching today, pulling all the right buttons.
My goodness.
And that's the thing, Leverett. You look at their stats as a team today, and they really just don't have one player in particular that's stood out so far above the rest. Sure, Kieran's has 11 kills, but you have 4 other players with 6 right behind her.
They've gotten everyone involved.
You've targeted 3 separate players at least 19 times. Kieran's has been targeted 19 times. He's converted 11 kills, hitting .421. And then, you got Reagan Wright, who has 6 kills on 21 attacks. Shamley has 6 kills and 10 attack errors. So that's really faulted her today, but she's been big of late. And this Holy Cross team, as you've said a few times, they would not love to win this, but they would love to win it in straight sets. That would be something.
And if they can pick up the sweep today, we can tell our grandchildren that we witnessed this sweep.
We sure could.
The amount of time it was that they'd even won a set.
Yeah, I just brought those stats back up so I can reference them once again.
Yes.
They've never won against American in the history of the two schools. And that's a clean kill out of the timeout.
And one more time, how many years was it since they won a set against American?
Since 2012. So you've gone
wow.
2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 1 match in 18.
Unbelievable.
5 years and 1 match, basically. So 11 matches you haven't won a set in.
Yeah, and I think, obviously American has been playing hard today, but it has to sap your motivation when you know those stats. I don't think they're reading them those exact stats before the game, but they're aware.
It's just the second time that Holy Cross has ever even taken 2 sets from American in a match. And they're looking for the big win today to overcome that obstacle. Honan was not tipped. 2 straight points for American out of the timeout as they try to close in on a 3rd set victory and force a 4th. It's 23-19. Largay is going to go long. That is something right there that Holy Cross will welcome with open arms. Harding and Dwyer both going to come back into this match. Shannon Dwyer will be the one to serve. Yet to pick up an ace today. She does have 8 on the season. Largay goes down to get it, pushed outside for Kazama, and wow. She almost put a hole in the floor. Kazama with an easy swing and a beautiful spotting there.
And that's the 3rd example of, a play she's made that you just can't defend. Their velocity on those hits.
Set point for American. Harding goes through the block and picks up the point. They extend it for now, and Holy Cross is back within 3. Now, if you're the Crusaders, you need to rattle off at least the next 3 as well.
Right.
And it becomes increasingly harder to do on a service when the other team's receiving and can set up an attack, especially against this team. American does not usually mess up 3 attacks in a row. Kazawa goes over the top of the front row. Honan will get one down. Crusaders within 2.
This is leaving me speechless.
It's honestly one of those matches where, as a commentator, you almost just want to sit back and watch.
Yeah.
See what happens. It's more fun to be a fan sometimes. And right now, Holy Cross is making it hard to not make this fun. That one will be down in play, and now they call it out. It looked like it was in. Holy Cross is within one. That would have been for the set. And now Shamley will have a serve to tie it up. Holy Cross has not led since it was 4-3 in this set. That's a low serve. They get it out. It's an attack on the outside, and the set will be won 25-23 by American. They hold on by the hair on their chinny chin chin.
Tough break there, though, because winning that point would have given them a 2-point cushion.
I'll tell you what, we've played 3 sets from the Hart Center. They've all been 2-point victories. It's a good one. That's all I got to say. We'll be right back on Patriot League Network. Alessandra Kazama out of the third set. She has over 10 kills for this team right now. She leads the way for Americans. Big part of why they got back into that third set there. Able to hold off Holy Cross, but on the other side, it's been a lot of attacking. Reagan Wright, a big part of that today with 6 kills, tied for third on the team with 3 other players. Man, Holy Cross made this a fun one today to call. If you happen to stumble upon us on the Patriot League Network today, you happen to stumble upon a gem. The 13-0 American University Eagles clinched another Patriot League regular season title last night. And today, they find themselves down 2-1. They were down 2-0. And Holy Cross very nearly came back to win the third set. We're having a lot of fun. It's John Avino and Leverett Ball. And Leverett, Holy Cross, is still pumped up despite the fact they just dropped that set. They came all the way back at the very end and only lost by 2.
That might have been their best set that they played all day, despite the loss, just as far as the way they played. The best play set by both teams. One thing to note, though, Kazama, like you said, she does have 10 kills, but she also has 5 errors and a hitting percentage today of 172. So, while the kill total is impressive, she's actually not at her best, and she's such a talented player that she can have off games and still, have a high kill total. But, I don't think, if I'm guessing, she's particularly happy with the way she's played today.
Yeah, she averages about 3.52 kills per set this season. That one's going to go long on the serve by Philo to open the set up. This is actually, by the numbers, a down season for Kazama based on the last 2 years. She's not going to get to that same kill mark she even got to probably even last year or 2 years ago rather with 498. Unless this season goes on for a while for American, but still obviously one of the best, if not the best, overall outside hitter in the conference. And there she is right there, falling back on one that she gives to Holy Cross for an attack. Big swing, and it goes off the face of Largay.
Largay actually has been on the wrong end of some slams right at her head. A few different plays today.
Reagan Wright, 50 aces as a freshman right now. Very nearly with another. That will be tipped over. Great dig by Van Severn. Get down. Shamley will bump it over. Pushed across for Kazama, and that's as good sometimes as swinging as hard as you can. When you can finesse it right through the blockers that are there, that sometimes is even more valuable than just hitting it as hard as you can. Little help from the net on the service for Etheridge. Shamley, big swing. It's dug out by Largay. This will just be, attempted to push over by Elbeck, but that's a rare attack error. Rarely do you see a two-handed pushover get hit short.
We're off to a 2-2 start, and, obviously every set today, has been very close, and we were talking about it earlier. Don't be shocked if this game goes to 5 sets.
A lot of the times today, and including that fourth set, right here in the set is when it's made a difference. They continue to play on this point. I'll tell you what I mean in a second. Largay will keep it alive. Kazama over the top line. The dig is not there. Diving in was Kieran's. But really, this was the time last set where when Holy Cross was up 4-3, you get a 10-0 run from American. And even though Holy Cross came out of a timeout with a big run after that, they just never were able to make it up. And we've seen Same thing with Holy Cross in the first set. They went on a big run right around the same time. American came all the way back, never able to make it completely up. Barry with a clean kill. She went for the back corner, and Kazama saying, my bad. There was a couple players there. Neither one of them went for it. That's a communication error right there by the Eagles. And Allie Barry fired up as she goes to the bench with her second kill of the afternoon. It's always tough for a player who doesn't play a ton as she gets older to stay positive and stay as an important member of the team, but Allie Barry has been the epitome of that. Kristen Somerville has been out for a lot of this season, hurt, but she's been a regular player for them over the 4 years. Barry has really been a player that's seen her playing time go up and down and has always stayed very positive about it. It's always helpful to have a player like that. Selfless. That time through the block goes Rachel Harding. Mentioned earlier, we were talking to Rachel's mom before the match today. Very nice woman. She told us that Rachel's sister, who plays at Providence, will be here today. Be a good one for her older sister to come to, Catherine. Catherine is a senior at Providence, currently injured, though, and talking with Mrs. Harding, she doesn't know if Catherine will get back on the floor for her final couple matches. Another kill for Holy Cross. This time it's right. It's cool to have some sister help and sister love in the building.
Talk about an athletic family.
They have another daughter, too, who she said is applying to multiple schools, but they don't know if she'll end up playing at the varsity or club levels past high school. Still pretty impressive for that family, obviously. Honan with a big swing. Largay goes down to get it. Counter swing coming from Sohorska. Another attack for Holy Cross now. Long rally. Up over the front line goes Sohorska again. Another attack from Reagan Wright. Another dig for Largay. This time it's going to be Kazama from the back row. Reagan Wright for Dwyer for Honan. We continue on. Big swing blocked out of play. Elbeck will commit the kill. Tied back up at 5.
Great positioning there by the Crusaders, but just an absolute laser there from Elbeck.
Dwyer, Harding commits and finishes it off past the dive of Largay in the back row. So this is where Holy Cross went wrong last set, and you really can't call it wrong. You just call American going on fire for a bit. They lost 10 points in a row, and they never were able to dig themselves out. But right now, 6-5 lead. Those first 2 sets were played awfully close at times. That one's going to go long. Another point for Holy Cross.
Yeah, and the Crusaders, they can't afford to, give up 10 straight points like they did last set. American's just too good of a team. You're not going to be gifted points, consecutively, like you were saying earlier, against a team like American.
That tip is enough for McKenzie as she goes over the top row, front row.
Now Webb will get the serve for American.
Webb, the junior. And an overpass, and that's one that Kazama won't miss on often. 13th kill for Kazama. Leading everybody, breaking the tie she was holding a moment ago with Katie Kieran's. Service error, though, by Webb, and that has been a theme. That's the 11th for American today. For a team that on the season had 123 service errors total. Over the course of 28 matches, quick math will tell me that's about 4 service errors a match, so they've greatly exceeded that today. That was nearly an ace on the opposite side. Instead, it's getting bumped over for a free ball. Philo will push it out for Wright, but the block was there. Good positioning by McKenzie and Etheridge. And we're tied at 8. Largay will float it over. Philo dumps it on the second, ready for it was the front row, but it's called a violation on Philo on the dump, so the point and the lead to American for the moment, 9-8. Van Severn, Philo, backdoor slide play, Reagan Wright. Another chance, this time for Kierans, and she'll convert. Katie Kierans with her 13th kill to just 3 errors on just 22 attacks. She's been a big part of the reason that they are out in front today. Hitting up over 440 for the day. And now Crusaders' best server is at the line, Reagan Wright. Will be played, but it's a long attack off the hand of Westney. And the lead right back to Holy Cross. Reagan Wright. Try for another. On point, but it will be played again. Kazama is blocked. Another attack coming. Kazama off the bump set. She's blocked again. Barry and Kieran's there.
What a job by Kieran's once again. She's arguably been the Crusaders' MVP today.
Kieran's with a block assist, a solo block, 4 digs, 13 kills. And quite the day for number 14. Philo will go out for Shamley through the block. Overpass here by American. Van Severn with a bump. Right back for Shamley. Cleanly down on the back row. 3-point lead for Holy Cross. 12-9. And Barry Goldberg will take a timeout. And so will we. Holy Cross trying to shock American. We'll be right back on the Patriot League Network on Stadium. Out of the timeout by Barry Goldberg. Reagan Wright, the best server for Holy Cross, on a bit of a run right now. Up by 3 are the Crusaders. Trying to beat this American team for the first time in program history. And it's a free ball for Holy Cross. Philo for Kierans over the top of the front row, and it's played by American. Kazama blocked away. Barry and Kierans again.
Yeah, and Kierans continues her dominance today with some help from Barry. But, you know, Kieran's only a sophomore this year, but not a total surprise the way she's been playing today and this season. I mean, last year as a freshman, she actually led the entire team with 294 kills and also averaged 3.13 kills per set.
Service error brings Reagan Wright's service streak to an end. But she got Holy Cross out by a few. They're up by 3 right now with a serve coming on the opposite side from Etheridge. High first ball, second one set up for Shamley. And problem is when you hit the ball so high up in the air is that you can almost guarantee the other team's going to set up defensively. The block was there that time, so 2 straight for American. Van Severn misplays that one, and now 3 straight and an ace. So not the way you want to come out of that timeout if you're Melissa Beatty-Smoose and the Crusaders. And now they still have the lead on the board. Yet to call a timeout. They got the first point, but then since then it's been 3 straight for American. Shamley through the block. The dig was there by Kazama on the back end. Philo for Kieran's, blocked at the net by Westney. And now it's 13-13 rather.
Westney's actually made a couple blocks now this set. Westney obviously great size for that at 6'3", and actually a local athlete, actually from DC.
Barry will drop that one over the top of the front row and gets Holy Cross back on top. 3 big kills for Allie Barry tonight, as well as a few big block assists. That's what I mean about a player who might not play all the time, but can step up and play a big role at times if needed. Overpass. Shamley is going to make Webb pay for multiple reasons.
Oh, my goodness.
Webb sent that ball right back over, and Shamley sent it right back at her.
exclamation point there on that slam. My, oh my.
And that very nearly missed an ace. It was down out of play by Kieran's. Honan, big swing. The block attempt was there with Westney setting up, but Honan didn't care. Goes right by. It's a 16-14 lead. Crusaders on top. Shannon Dwyer will come back in. Overpass. Dwyer, Honan again. Largay keeps it up. Lunging bump over the head. Another free ball for Holy Cross, though. Dwyer for Honan again. This time over the top. Largay with a pancake dig. Another free ball attack. Shamley. This time, Holy Cross not denied. They are fired up here in Worcester.
And Shamley's just taken over this set. You know, in the first 3 sets, she'd had some issues with errors. Actually, in the first 3 sets, she had a total of 10 errors, but now playing her game, playing up to her ability level and dominating.
Good serve there. And a block. And they don't call it a dig.
Ooh.
That gets Barry Goldberg up off his feet. And the down official saying, I don't have any jurisdiction over him, and he already called it out. A 4-point lead for the Crusaders in this 4th set. Goldberg still arguing his point. And now he'll take his second and final timeout of the set. You see him there. He's animated. Now he's just, all right. But that could be a huge call if that ends up being the case. For now, it is a big call. So Holy Cross goes out ahead by 4 instead of it being a 17-15 lead. And they force the final timeout for Barry Goldberg. So at this point, if you're the Crusaders, really you put yourself in a position where you could trade points and still win this set.
Yeah. And I think it's really just a matter of not making errors. You know, as long as, you know, obviously American's a tough team, but as long as they just don't make errors and, like you said, trade points, they're good.
They have 3 players in double-digit digs today, does Holy Cross. 13 for Wright, 10 for Shamley, 11 for Van Severn. That just kind of shows you how much they've been able to keep plays alive and scramble. 2 players have multiple double-digit assists. That's Philo at 23, Dwyer with 14. And then Kieran's the only one with 13 kills, the only one in double digits. Nobody has a double-double, but that also shows you just how spread out everything's been today. And how about the blocks? They have 8 blocks, does Holy Cross. I don't remember receiving an invitation to a block party. I'll have to check my email again, maybe the spam folder. Out of the last timeout that Barry Goldberg can call here in the 4th set, Shannon Dwyer will serve. And there's a clean kill. That's exactly what the doctor ordered as Elbeck puts it down.
You know, and John, you mentioned that's their final timeout of the set. You know, you've seen Coach Goldberg call some timeouts earlier in the match to, you know, break up Holy Cross's momentum. But if Holy Cross gets a 3 or 4 point run, there's not a whole lot he can do about it at this point.
That's just it. He's got to trust that his team is going to be able to figure it out from here on out. They get that first point, which is always so crucial, out of the coach's timeout. But an attack now coming the other way. Shamley had to adjust. Kind of a running tip. Dwyer will bump one up. Van Severn with a bump set for Shamley. She's blocked at the net. Both McKenzie and so Horska there. And it's a 2-point set. Jasmine Ellison, who we have seen only really in this role today as a server, is back out there and on a nice run right now. Dwyer, ball handling error against the Crusaders, 3 straight points.
Yeah, and McKenzie into the game for American. Hasn't played a ton today, but one of the taller players on their active roster at 6'4". Obviously, their redshirt freshman, Weber, the tallest at 7 feet.
Oh, they Holy Cross will call a timeout here. Still up by 1, but 3 straight points has definitely changed the momentum, say the least, here. Coming out of that timeout, American got 3 straight. Now Barry Goldberg gets to talk to his team again. And that's the other thing I mentioned last set with Holy Cross was if you're going to get back into it, chances are that you're going to get a timeout again anyway from the other team. So really, if they didn't come back in the set, he said all he could say, but now he gets a chance to regroup with his team after they do win 3 straight points. So the advantage tips over to American for the moment, even down by 1. That was Melissa Beatty-Smoose's first timeout, though, so she still can regroup with her team if needed.
And the Crusaders' lead cut down to just 1 point. But, I mean, it's been a streaky match all day. And, the Crusaders can get on a streak right now. And that's the match. And they'll win in 4 sets.
Dwyer for Shamley. And it goes long, so we're tied at 18. 4 straight points for the Eagles. And this is what you can't let happen if you're the Crusaders. You let a team get momentum towards the end of a 4th set, and then a decisive 5th set. Dwyer for Harding. She's blocked. Van Severn kept it alive. It's going to be a free ball just bumped over by Honan, but an attack coming the other way, and beautifully set up there was McKenzie. So American, with that 5-0 run, has put themselves back on top, and Melissa Beatty-Smoose can't wait. Just 2 points later, she'll call her next timeout, final timeout of the set.
The Crusaders really don't want to go to a 5th set because if they do, I mean, I think American has the advantage. Coming off of 2 straight sets won, and also, with the history of, how they've, drastically outperformed the Crusaders in their previous matchups.
Well, it'd even be one thing if they had to, if this was a close set the whole time and Holy Cross kind of had to battle back at the end and then go to the 5th set. But this is a team in American that you were just up by 4 on with 18 points on the board. And they've now scored 5 in a row. So if you give them the momentum towards the end of this set and they win it, they can come out and really feel it in the 5th.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're a team that was down 2-0, and you give them a chance to just win one more set for the whole thing. Would not be a good spot for the Crusaders. So I think this has been one all day that Holy Cross, once they were up 2-0, you thought maybe they have to have it in 3. But even after that one, they played a great set, lost by 2. You said, I think they have to have it in 4.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens here. Down by 1 now, receiving a serve. And that's about the best thing that they could have had happen.
And not even close. It's almost like the equivalent of an air ball in basketball. Almost went under the net.
Great metaphors. Jasmine Ellison can't even.
And I like to reference other sports and movies.
Just skimmed the bottom of that net, and we're tied back up. That's a big end to the run there. Big swing on the other side. A joust. Honan gets it down. Just going to be pushed over by Largay. Dwyer will set it up for Honan. Dug out by Etheridge. Largay with another setup that's blocked away off the attack from Sohorska. And now through the block goes Elbeck. And American tips it back in their favor. First to 20 points in this set. And rather than have Elbeck go back to serve, they bring back on Megan Crush, who we've seen a couple times in the same capacity.
Mm-hmm.
A chance for her to go on a possible run here and end this set or put it out of reach for Holy Cross. Great job to bring that ball back by Dwyer. Honan got the attack off. Now another one, Van Severn on a bump set for Harding through the block.
Whoa.
We're tied at 20.
What a job by Harding, making everyone in Kalamazoo, Michigan proud.
And with family in the building today, even more so impressive. That's her 10th kill of the day. I think Barry Goldberg and this American team wanted to know something there. Perhaps they thought one of the sets was illegal. There should have been an error called against Holy Cross. It's the only thing I could think of. That was a clean swing by Harding that got down. But the arguing is to no avail. Attack now coming for Holy Cross, and there is a ball handling error, so you give it right back. American teeters it back in their direction. 21-20. Shannon Webb will serve. Van Severn digs it out. Dwyer for Harding. It's rolled over. Kazawa was up in the air forever, and she still punched it down in front of the dive.
And it was hard to tell if she did that on purpose, whether she was trying to finesse it in there or whether she mistimed her leap and just barely got a piece of it, but it worked regardless.
That's what a great attacker can do, is just make it work when it doesn't even look like it's going to be close. 14th kill for Kazawa. 2-point lead for American here in the fourth. Harding goes long.
Just missing there.
And American with a 3-point advantage now late in this fourth set, as American will try to force the decisive fifth set, needing 2 more points. Dwyer for Wright. Blocked up in the air and then just thrown right back down with 2 hands by McKenzie. What a play.
And McKenzie has not played a ton today, but she certainly made her presence felt when she's been out there on the court.
10 kills for McKenzie with just 1 error on 16 total attacks. That is efficiency, and Melissa Beatty-Smoot having a discussion as this is set point. All 3 sets have been won by 2 points today. That will go long, so this is now a 3-point deficit. Holy Cross getting the ball back.
It'll be interesting to see who they put in to serve. It looks like it's going to be Philo.
Philo will rotate in off the bench to serve here as they move Harding and Dwyer out of the rotation. Allie Barry also comes in for some defensive help. Philo with the serve. It's low. It was a good one. It is going to be a free ball coming for Holy Cross. A tough one for them to manage, but they do get an attack for, I believe, Wright, and it was Wright.
Nicely done.
Hesitated because I couldn't see if there was a 1 in front of the 4, but Reagan Wright brings Holy Cross within 2. They still need 2 more to continue this set. It's still set point for American. Another tough one for Philo. Kazawa takes a big swing. Van Severn with a clean dig. Attack coming from Shamley. Illegally touched up front. Holy Cross within 1. And I'll tell you one thing, they've at least guaranteed that we're going to have all 4 sets be decided by 2 points. Philo, a good serve, overpass, joust, and Holy Cross gets up and wins it.
And look at the emotion from right there after that point, and this now gives them a 2-point cushion.
Katie Kierans gets up there. That was it. They needed to get to 24. Now, if you're Holy Cross, you can at least afford to lose a point, but they have no plans of doing that. Elbeck will come in here to help out in the back row. They sub her in for Megan Crush, defensively, who had been out there for her serving, but they kept her for a while. Former libero in high school, she was unable to deliver defensively. Another serve that's toughly handled. Kazawa, another attack handled by Holy Cross. Reagan Wright. That might have been going long. It was played up. Kazawa now tips one over the top of the front row. Philo, Barry, over the top. Holy Cross by 1. It's 25-24. One of the Crusaders, Emerson Smith, just ran on the floor to celebrate. I think she thought the match was over. And that's lucky that they didn't get penalized for that.
That could have been a huge mistake.
25-24, Philo serves. Kazawa blocked, but out of play, and we're tied back up. This is unbelievable.
My goodness.
Unbelievable. Largay will serve. 25 all. Wright bumps it up. Philo. Kieran's had to adjust. Played opposite side. Kazama long on her attack. No tip up front. Holy Cross will send their best server back with a 1-point advantage and try to finish off American for the first time in school history.
Close this out.
Unbelievable. We'll see what Reagan Wright's got. Wright, tough serve, overpass, an attack coming. Philo sets up for Kieran's, and that does it! Holy Cross is going to storm the court!
Oh my goodness!
As they've knocked off American for the first time in school history.
Oh my goodness.
Previously 0-36. You can make it 1-36.
Oh.
What a win for Holy Cross here at the Hart Center today. I don't think anybody in the building thought that would happen today. I mean, maybe the players for Holy Cross. Obviously, they never want to admit it, but what a win. You can't make this up.
What, John? I'm not supposed to say this as a color guy, but I am at a loss for words. I don't believe what I just saw.
Well, I can tell you what we just saw. That is the first program win against American. 0-36 previously. They had won 7 total sets before today against American. They win 3 out of 4. They hadn't won a set against this team in 5.5 years since 2012. That included a match this year they lost in straight sets at American.
Oh, my goodness. And, American still has the #1 seed in the Patriot League playoffs, but their undefeated record in conference now is done.
I mean, they lost 1 game each of the last 2 years in conference, and right now at 13-1, Holy Cross is the team to knock them off 3-1 here in 4 sets. Unbelievable. 4 2-point sets.
Yeah, all of them.
So Holy Cross wins 26-24, 25-23. They drop the third set, 25-23. And then here in the fourth, 27-25. And they are going to be partying in Worcester all evening long. That team is fired up right now.
Man. And it's hard to pick a, team MVP. So many different players are involved.
Rachel Harding greeted by her sister down on the floor. What a night. That's Catherine Harding right there, the Providence Friar. But today she's wearing Holy Cross purple. 1-36. But the one comes here today. Holy Cross knocks off American for the first time in program history. They move to 6-8 in conference. They keep themselves alive, which they would have been anyway, but really they needed this one. They keep themselves within striking distance, the final Patriot League playoff spot. American will fall to 13-1, 19-10 overall. They still have themselves cemented as the host school and the 1 seed in the Patriot League, but I don't think anybody from American would tell you any different. They played a hard match today.
Yeah.
They gave it their all. Holy Cross outplayed them.
I mean, they fell down 2-0, but they kept battling. Obviously they did make some mistakes, but the compete level was there.
What a win. If you tuned in, you've tuned into a good one. So for Leverett Ball, Elijah Gonzalez, and our entire production team here at the Hart Center, we want to thank you for joining us for this one. Holy Cross knocks off American for the first time in their school's history in volleyball, 3-1. I'm John Avino. We'll see you next time, everyone.